Hello everybody. All right, I'm going to record a class for you today that we've been practicing using the wall and having a little fun with some forearm stands and handstands. So two different views here of the same recording. Hopefully we'll be able to help you out. So the first thing I like to do is to start with my back against the wall. It's a nice tactile exercise of feeling the wall supporting the sit, which oftentimes when we're sitting upright, if we don't have that extra support, we're leaning and rolling forward, and if the hips aren't open, it's not very comfortable. So in this way, I can let my knees fall open and press right between the shoulder blades into the wall, so I can drop my shoulder blades down, press, and then rest my head onto the wall. So finding the softness of the shoulders and the chin just gently coming down to lengthen the back of the neck. We take a few deep breaths in, and it's nice to breathe in from the belly up. And when you exhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together and then press the exhale into the wall. So we can really feel some of the tension that we carry in the upper body behind the heart. And we can disperse that into the wall. Wall being an earth element, the building is an earth element coming from the earth, so we can meet and touch and strengthen and support through this connection here. And so when we open the eyes, I'm going to take my other foot forward here, and I want to do a second step of using the wall. So gently let the knees fall open. And as we sit with the shoulder blades through the curvatures of the spine, the middle back is arcing away from the wall. So I want to gently roll down until I can feel the middle, the lower ribs pressing into the wall. So chin to chest, press the back into the wall, and then hold that. You take a deep breath in, press the ribs into the wall, and then allow that to open the hips. And do that a couple more times. Breathe it in, and pressing through the back here. So that area in my Chinese medicine is the area of the middle of the belly, which is liver and spleen and stomach, and so it's our digestive area. So if you're having any pains or stuckness in this area, you can release that stuckness, move the chi, and then improve the digestion. So press that spine in, think about just releasing stuckness, and just exhale that into the wall. And then we'll roll up nice and easy. And I like to start with just a nice open straddle. All right, so we're gonna work on lengthening the legs. So just press into a straddle, heels pressing into the floor, toes flexing back. And when I release, I'm not rolling back or forward. I'm just open enough to reach the edge. I can use my hands behind, press into the heels, and then find that. Good, and now just take a moment, point the toes, open up the top of the feet, and then flex back and push through the heels, and you'll feel the calves and the hamstrings flatten down to the floor. Point, lengthen, outside lateral stretching, and then pull back and press down, energetically press down into the legs. Nice stretch here. I can take my hand on the top of the femur, and I'm going to just take my hand close to the camera here, down, palm side up, as I lean into that elbow, which is now bicep pressing against the inner thigh, I can use my hand against the top of that right thigh, and I can press down and away and open up the hip here. So keep the chest rolling back instead of collapsing down, and then just take a couple deep breaths into this opening here. Keep the toes flexed back, release the neck, and then when you press up, let the head come last, and then do the same on the other side. Let my hand fall down to the inside, bicep comes to the inner thigh, and then press the opposite hand on top of the femur, down and away. And you're also opening up the low back, the QL, the sacrum connections here, and the femur. So really allow that to open, and then release the neck here, and take some deep breaths into these spaces. Again, flex the toes back. And then come on up nice and easy, head last, and then we walk our hands forward. And if you can come down to the forearms, reach the fingers forward, press into the heels now, really stretch. Flex them back, press the underside of the legs to the floor. Lengthen by pulling the back forward with the elbows. Take a deep breath, and then you can drop the head. And every exhale moves down the legs in through the bottom of the feet to release. Again, press those inner thighs down towards the floor. Releasing the low back congestion here. One more breath in. Exhale out. Moving that. And then walk the hands back up easy. Let the head be last. So you can use your breath to move what we call the chi, the stuckness, down the legs. Just as you do the arms as you press out. Use those hands to lift those knees up and give yourself a big hug. So to work on shoulder rotation, we can come back to the wall, come back to your sit. Rematch the scapula onto the wall and the head. And now we can take the arms up on the wall, and you can take them up cactus style, or you can take them out flat if you have enough room, or up above. All right, and you'll slowly start to realize the back rolling. So scapula flat. So I'm going to come down with my cactus arms, and my scapula flat, coming down onto the back. And so my forearm, my hands, and my elbows can all rest onto the wall. Now take a deep breath. This is the opening. And the exhale rolls the hands down towards the floor. Leave the elbows right where they are, like a hinge. Lift up. And exhale down. Rotating those shoulders. Inhale up. Exhale. So one thing you don't want to do is jut your ribs forward. So pull them back towards the wall. Do this again. And leave that head on the wall, so don't send the chin out. So everything's still pulling back towards the wall. Exhale here. Let's do one more big breath. Open. Exhale, reach out, lengthen. And then bring those hands back around. Good. Welcome to your practice today. I'm going to roll around on my back, so I hope that you can hear me best that you can and be able to see. So we're going to work on doing bridge on the wall, and then we'll come right into shoulder stand. So that's the whole sequence. I have a blanket next to me that I have made as wide as my shoulders. So when we put this on the floor, the head is above, so it has some room to lay down. And that way your neck doesn't crunch into the floor. So I leave that next to me. I'm going to roll around to my back as close as I can to the wall. And then I'm going to set myself up by backing off, putting my toes on the baseboard, and the heels on the floor. And then I can scoot myself so I can touch the tips of my fingers to my heels, just like I'm setting up for bridge. All right, and you can use a block between your knees to squeeze those inner thighs together. Relax the shoulders to the floor, and then we'll just come right into a normal bridge. Take a breath in, push into the toes as you lift the hips up. So this also gives you some extra strength in two directions to press the hips up, and the knees are moving towards the wall. Now here, I don't want to be looking around. I want my neck to be flat. I want my eyes to be up towards the ceiling. As I take my breath in, I'm pressing hips up to sky and exhaling, lengthening knees to wall. So it's this gradual two-way motion here. Breathing in and exhaling, lengthen. Let's take one more breath. On the exhale, I'm rolling down from the upper ribs, middle ribs, lower ribs, sacrum, a little closer to the feet, and then I can bring the soles of my feet together, and then go ahead and just press into the top of the legs and wiggle the hips back and forth. Resetting, I can lift my knees back up, and then press one foot to the wall at a time. All right, starting with my left foot here. So my foot's a little higher than my knee. My right foot, toes are on baseboard, heel onto floor. My knees are as wide as my hips. And you can rock a few times, tipping tailbone up and flattening to the floor. And when you push into the wall with the foot, you can feel your entire back pressing into the floor. This might be therapeutic, and this might be as far as you go. This helps release the tension and widen the space in the lower vertebrae and in the middle of the back, right where those lower ribs were, where we were rolling into the wall. And then you can come back to your normal arc, take a deep breath, hold it, curl the tailbone, then exhale, press into the wall, press into the floor, and just disperse that into the earth. All right, now we'll take that a little further. We'll take a deep breath in, and then on the exhale, curl tailbone, come into bridge, one foot on the wall. So my right hip's pushing up, my left foot's pushing into the wall here. I'm gonna hold here, take a breath in. On the exhale, I'm gonna roll down and lengthen the spine towards the wall. Exhale. Inhale, lifts. Exhale, lowers. Find some motion here, lifting up on inhale. Push into the bottom foot and push into the top foot. Press hip up, lengthen top leg. Working on extension and working on flexion. Inhale, exhale. Good, now let's switch that. Bring the other foot down, bring the other one up. Curl the tailbone, flatten back to floor, press it down, push into that top leg, push into the wall just like we did on the other side. Really feel the ribs pressing into the floor. Release that, come back to normal arc and breathe in. Exhale, just tip that tailbone up, push back into floor, and press that foot strong into the wall. Good. And then now we'll do our lifts. Take a deep breath in, curl and lift into bridge on the wall. Bottom foot pressing hip up and knee pushing into wall. Inhale, exhale, rolls down. And we'll keep this flow going. Inhale up, exhale, rolling down. Curl tailbone up. Exhale, rolling down. And lengthen each time you come down. One more time, big breath up. Exhale down. And good, bring both feet down. Now we're gonna scoot as gracefully as we can. The best way I can do this is just elbows and just move along the floor until I can get as close to the wall as I can.
the closer you are, the more vertical you are. So I'm just a couple inches away. All right, full bridge on the wall. Feet are higher than knees. We're gonna adjust that by walking them up. Bring the arms up to the side. Flatten everything nice to the floor. Take a deep breath in. Curl tailbone up, push into feet and lift. Walk feet up. And now you're into a supported shoulder stand. Let those shoulders be flat. Again, this is not a point where you need to be looking around. Neck is nice and flat. Now this is the point where if the neck is pressing into the floor and it feels uncomfortable, we're gonna roll down. Let your feet just rest and hinge on the floor, on the wall. This is actually a nice resting form that you can let the blood flow back down to the belly, so it's a good shavasana. Not there yet though. We're gonna roll to the side and I'm gonna take that blanket. I'm gonna set it up right where my shoulders were. All right, do your best to adjust that. And then come down again, reset. Now, my head is off the blanket and this is just supporting and lifting my shoulders just enough so when I come up, I'm not crunching into the neck. Reset, take a breath in, and then roll on up. And now that feels better. Press the hips back against the other wall, flatten those shoulders. Good, make sure you're looking up at the sky. You can have a block between your knees here, but energetically keep squeezing those inner thighs together, pressing the hips, squeezing the glutes. Good. Bridge on the wall. You can stay here and then roll down, or you can come and play a little. I'm going to take my flat hands on my sacrum and wedge my elbows underneath, and I'll come into playing with my shoulder stand. I can lift one foot at a time. I can leave one foot on the wall and just work on extension, flexing the toes back, and just stretching the hamstrings here. I can do that with each foot. So that way it helps hold and press you up to become a little flatter and stretching. And if I want to lift one leg, then another leg, fully supporting my shoulder stand here. Again, we can play, you can drop knees down to ears and lift that back up nice and flat. And then you can work on the extension one foot at a time, or straightening the other up to work more on your scissors, or you can start working that one foot towards the wall, pressing, extending, stretching. And then other leg. And then if you want to come into full plow, breathing. This is why the lift on the neck is much better here with the blanket. And then when you're ready to come out, you bring knees right to ears again, lifting up. Bring the feet back to the wall one at a time, back into our bridge on the wall. You can press feet in and release the hands. Take a deep breath, and when we exhale, we roll down, dragging that tailbone close to the wall, and then we just stay for a moment, just flex the toes, stick the heels into the wall, and we just release what we've just done here. Nice. I'm going to roll to the side. I'm going to take this blanket out, and I'm going to come back flat again, and I want to work on another option. I'm going to back off just a little bit. So figure 4 is used in yoga a lot, sitting and laying down. When we use the wall, it's another different option here, that we can use the pressing of the foot into the back, but we also get the pressing of the back into the floor. So it's a different sensation. We can take one foot and drop it below the other knee on the wall. So I can straighten my leg. It's an easy way to get the foot in. You can work on lotus. You can work on pressing the inner thigh away. And when you start to bend that foot on the wall, then we come more into figure 4, You drop or drag that foot down the wall, and as you come a little closer, I am now bringing my right knee closer to my chest, and I can feel the outside, the lateral hamstring, hip flexors, the muscles, just stretching here on the outside of this right hip. But I'm also feeling my back press into the wall or the floor as my foot presses into the wall. I can flex my toes here, and you can just hang on to that foot. You can do some nice reflexology here while you're here, pressing into points, acupuncture points. That's a nice healing moment. Just breathing in, put the breath into the hips that you're opening, right? And then the closer you bring that foot down, you can press that knee right in and bring it in. So sitting pigeon, lying on the back, and then to release, just unhook that foot, and then we'll switch. Bring that one up to the wall, just extend it. You can start with just folding that in to a lotus, half lotus, and then you can bring that foot flex back below the knee as we move the foot down. So you'll notice when you first start, there's a little resistance, and then as that hip flexor releases, then you can start to slide the foot down a little more. Push into the foot, press the back into the floor, flex the toes, and then just breathe into the hip, allowing the lower back, so we're pressing in the connection of the psoas as well, but we're flexing in the ilium. So one side is actually extending, the other is flexing, so we work back and forth, both sides. Big deep breaths. Again, you can start to slide, wiggle the foot down. So this is a nice closing form too, to press out all the contractions in the back. And then when we're ready, we just unhook the foot and bring them both back up again, and can stretch, can press tension on the top of the femurs and stretch once again out of the hip sockets. And then we can bring the knees right into chest, press back into floor, and roll that out. And then we'll roll to side, and we'll come up. And let's come to a tabletop. You can put the balls of your feet onto the floor. And then we'll just take a couple cat-cows as you drop the belly now. Tip that tailbone up, breathe into the chest, and then pull tailbone down, pull belly up, press right between those shoulder blades because we need to use that strength. And inhale, breathe, rock open, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Good. Feet are on the wall. I'm set up here. Come down, forearms to floor. Grab the biceps, interlock the hands. Now we're set up for dolphin, so push right into the elbows. Look back at your knees. Take a deep breath in, and then exhale, push up. Now my heels are on the wall, my toes are on the baseboard. Elbows pushing straight up. This is gonna help your forearm balance. This is gonna help your dolphin. Big deep breaths. And we can work on extension, so I can put one of my foot up on the wall as high as I can get it. Extend that leg, stretch the hamstrings. Keep pressing through the elbows. And then switch sides, replace that foot, lift the other one up to sky, and I can press my clavicle bone back towards the baseboard when I lift that foot up higher, and open those hamstrings. And then you bring the foot back down here, press back. And then lower knees down, and come into an embryo. Just rotate the hands back behind you, releasing the shoulders. Breathe big into the belly to come through the back. And then we're gonna roll up
And I'm gonna bring myself forward. Again, back to forearms, grab the biceps, interlock the hands, set those down nice and flat. Walk your knees back, so you have to have enough room that you can get those feet back behind you in the knees. And then press up between those shoulder blades, nice and solid, take a breath. And then just rock the tailbone back towards the feet and stretch the lats, the ribs, under the armpits. Big belly breath here. Once again, opening the shoulders. One more breath. You can work on different rotations of the hands. You can rotate them up. Work on the whole shoulder girdle here. And then roll hands down, lift head. Walk the knees back up, and then another counter pose back to embryo. You can bring the hands, palms back, and stretch those wrists too. And then we'll just roll up. I'm nice and close to the wall. I'm just gonna tuck my toes. I'm gonna press up, walk my hands back, and you can just lean right back into the wall and take a forward fold on the wall. And then go ahead and bend the knees and roll up. Now working on leg extensions, some nice ways to work on the leg extensions, like in half moon, right? I can walk my hands forward, and this will just take a couple times just to set this up properly. Have a block nearby if you need extra extension, but I'm gonna walk my foot so that my leg can extend. The best way to do that is sit on the floor, find the length of where your feet end, put the hands there, and then go ahead and lift up. Good. So, foot down, warrior three, press, rotate the hips flat. And then half moon, rotate 90 degrees. And then set that right hand, my left leg is on the wall. I'm stacking now, I can move my right hip right underneath my left. And now pressing into the wall, I can get my leg straight. I can work on moving that bottom hip underneath. And then I can lift the arm up for a full half moon. And then when I rotate back down, I can come back through warrior three, bring the foot down, and move to the other side. Warrior three, toes down. You can walk the hands back onto the blocks, pressing, flattening the hips. Feel what it's like to flatten those hips, and then rotate that foot to the side, stacking bottom hip underneath the top hip. Let it rotate open, vertically stacking those hips, and then bring the arm up to sky, and then push the foot into the wall. Feel the connection both directions. This is what you want to feel when you're doing this without the wall. You want to feel the energy moving through the leg instead of just a dead limb hanging there. Push through, and then hand back down, toes down towards floor, back into warrior three, and then bring foot back together, and then we can just take a little squat to release that out. Another nice twisting pose, now face the other way, is by putting the foot onto the wall. So I have to, again, gauge my distance. You can use markers, right? Or you can just give it a try. So when we work on balance and we work on extension of the leg, sometimes it's hard to get the leg out. So we can press it into the wall, stacking hips. And you can work on that distance here. If you're leaning, try working on getting that standing leg to be straight. Now, by pushing the foot against the wall, I can work on a revolved twist, bringing left hand to right calf. I can reach back behind me and open. Twist and lift, facing other side, foot onto wall, straight leg stacking, flexing the toes back, and then reach across opposite hand and reach back for your revolved opening here. Keep lifting the chest up, and then come back. Good. Now I'm facing the wall. I'd like to do a forward fold on the wall, then down, and face the wall, head down below. Now the distance you are from the wall determines how much you're going to roll into it. So I'm about a foot away, and I'm targeting right between my shoulder blades. So I come in easy, I find that spot, and then I can just lean my way into the wall, releasing the hands. The neck is nice and long on the wall too. So this is a nice release for the upper body. So the first one we did was for the lower. So forward fold, leaning on the wall, facing and away. And then to come out, hands to floor, turn the head to the side, bend your knees, and then walk the hands up the wall just in case you get a little dizzy. Now since we're here on the wall, I'm going to show you a shoulder opening, chest opening that works really nice to release before we come into our balancing. So I'm right hip to the wall, right foot forward, left foot back into a shortened warrior one. And at both hands on the wall, I reach back, and my right leg, it has a bend in the elbow. So I don't want it to be fully extended. I want to bend because I'm going to adjust. So I take my left hand onto the front of the pec. The adjustments are, I can bend into the front knee coming down, which lengthens the arm. I pull the shoulder blade down behind me, and then I rotate the chest forward. So I'm turning and twisting away from the wall. So forward, lengthens, drop shoulder blade down, rotates the shoulder blade back, and then rolling away. And then I can drop my ear, opposite ear to shoulder to open for our chest opening. And then I'm pressing my heel, since we're shortened, down, opening the calf and the Achilles muscle here. Calf muscle, Achilles tendon. Take another breath in. And you can stay here for many, many, many breaths. Just slowly working on dipping down, rotating shoulder down, and rotating chest forward. Now to come out, I rotate back towards the wall, slide my hand in, both hands to wall, and then I step forward, turn towards the wall, bring the hands above the shoulders, so we're coming into like a cobra or a sphinx. I lower my forearms in, I squeeze them together, and then I send my tailbone out, and I drop my head down below as I squeeze in. Take a breath or two, and then press up, and then we turn the other way. My left foot, left hip, right foot back, left hand back, leave that bend, good. And then I come forward in the knee, which lengthens the arm, roll shoulder blade down, and then twist away from the wall, drop right ear down and away. Big deep breaths into the chest, and then you really want to feel the hand on the wall. No dead fingers. You want to feel the sensation, the fingers, so you can drive that energy down the arm instead of being stuck in the shoulder. So it's opening the chest, come forward, fingers are sticking in place, shoulder blade down, rotate away, drop ear down. Big deep breaths into the shoulder space. Use your other hand to send energy into the front of the chest, into the shoulder opening. Big deep breath, one more. And then to release, I twist back towards the wall, move the hand in, use the other hand, step forward, let's come back down to the wall, fingers up, fully alive, palms, press forearms in, squeeze elbows together, and send that tailbone back. You can bend your knees, you can straighten, just drop the head down below and keep squeezing the elbows in. And then release. We're gonna come straight down onto the floor, coming right into our forearm balance. So it's really important, like we were doing earlier, when we put the forearms to the floor, we grab the biceps to make sure elbows are under shoulders, and we interlock the hands, press them down. The important thing with the strength is that I'm not loose between the shoulder blades, but I'm pressing right up and making a strong bridge between the elbows and the space between my shoulder blades. Good, and then I look back, tuck my toes, come right into dolphin, take a deep breath, pressing through the elbows and up, and I walk my feet forward, and I'm gradually working on my weight over my elbows, and I can rock back and forth, lifting the heels to toes. I can work on lifting one leg at a time and rocking up, just working on extension. And when you get ready to come into a full forearm balance, you have to have a little courage, keep pressing the elbows in, feel the strength, and then go for the lift. So choose your leading leg, and then just start to rock. Feel the weight balance over. Finally, you'll come up, and maybe the feet are on the wall, maybe one is off, maybe the other one meets. Keep pressing through those elbows. Breathe. And when you're ready to come down, one leg at a time, and then sit back, and then we come into embryo. All right, so we're not staying here very long, is what I'm trying to say, so that I can use it more as a teaching, and then you can work on your own time balances. But it's nice maybe to put a minute in for each one. All right, now we come to a full handstand, right? So your choice, hands down onto the floor, forearms or hands, depending on how your body's working today. So I widen my fingers as wide as I can, because it's the biggest surface area. If you pull your fingers together, you're trying to rock on a small surface area. So use the little fingers, really important. Use the thumbs. Press the hands down, come into a down dog, walk the feet forward again. All right, so it's the same idea. Lift one leg at a time, put the weight on the hands, feel the strong upper body lifting out, and then lift up here. Then you have to make the courage. You have to say, I'm gonna throw my leg up, I'm moving towards the wall. There's a pivot point, taking a few bounces, and then you have to give it just a little more energy to rise. Maybe you have to put the foot on the wall, lengthen one of those. So remember, you don't want to bash your feet into the wall. Come up with grace. Stack. Now push, squeeze the elbows together. Push, hips and lifting. Find the whole length straight up. And then look away instead of down. And then finally, come down again. It's nice to release the wrists, give them a good rub. Interlock hands, squeeze an open chest. Good, and give that a good roll. So there's other things you can do to help you lift those hips up. So if I'm using the wall, I can work on down dog on the wall,
as a way to get my balance over. So I'm gonna make an L shape. Finding that distance, lifting up, and then making this L shape so I can rock my weight over, pulling tailbone, and then lifting up, pressing. So now I get used to weighting my arms, pressing feet into wall, and then you can lift one leg at a time, and then work on pressing elbows together, looking at the wall instead of looking down, right? So instead of using your neck for your balance, you're using your abs, and then pull belly in, press the leg up to sky, and then you can do the other leg. This is a prep for your handstand, and then you can turn around and use the wall when you're ready to fly. All right, releasing the shoulders. Now for our warm down, I like to come down, Baddha Konasana, soles of the feet together. Let's just interlock the fingers, drop the knees, take a deep breath in, and then roll forward, release the back. And then go ahead and roll up. Now I want to be far enough away from the wall. Just going to scoot forward a little more. So when I'm going to use my right knee first, keep the right foot in place, but bring the left foot behind. On the edge of both of my feet, I'm going to be able to sit up nice and straight here without falling over. Now if you find that, you can move the knee forward and you can use the opposite hand as a kickstand, but we're working on rotating that hip open here. So pressing knee back behind me on the edge of the feet, both flex. I'm going to turn and twist my shoulders square with the front leg and come down and let my body weight, my gravity work on my pigeon and my hip flexors. Release the neck. And you can extend this leg again. You can use the other hand to help release the tension in the hip. And then also in the back here. Lengthen the back as you lower down. And then when you lift up, we're just going to keep twisting all the way around the clock, all the way around, and lower down as I square my chest to the floor. I'm working now here on the QL, on the top of the hip, lengthening the back, coming down, working on the ilium here, all of that lengthening. And then I'm going to twist, I'm going to come up, and I'm going to twist the other way. Right foot, right arm, right elbow comes right into the arch of the foot. Now this again, you can move this foot more square, you can bring the knee in. If I'm moving my foot out, it's going to be a little bit more length. So I reach down, I stick that elbow in, make a fist, straight the other hand up to square off, push the weight now down into the bottom elbow, and rotate as I pull my belly in. I'm lengthening that back hip, but I'm also lifting straight up and opening the bottom ribs there. So a twisting pigeon modified here. You can do this out of a full-length pigeon. It's called twisting pigeon. And then you drop your ear down to shoulder. Taking one more breath. The way I like to get out, I just release the tension. I leave the elbow in, drop the hand open, drop shoulder right on down. Body weight is now on the front leg again, pressing into that leg. I can rotate the top shoulder back. I can reach my hand, and as I move my head more over the front of the knee, I'm lengthening the back again. Breathe in. Then hand to floor, lift back up again. Use the hand to help lift that back leg forward, back into Baddha Konasana. Take a deep breath in, rolling forward, releasing the back. And then roll back up,
and switch sides. Back foot down, good. Rotate, and I square shoulders right over front leg, come down.
Release the shoulders, release the head. Let the body weight just press down into the leg. Big deep breaths, belly pushing against the leg. And then rotating towards the back, just walking hands around. Reach out as far as I can, square the chest, coming down over bent leg. And start to open up that back again. Lower ribs, back in the erector's cue, how everything into the lower back, holding the hip, lengthening here, twisting. Big deep breaths to release that. And then I lift up, rotate back, left arm lifts to left elbow, sink that down, and then press down in. As I twist, I'm going to lower my shoulder back towards my knee to rotate my chest to the right and drop ear to shoulder. Big deep breaths here. Push down in that elbow, lift the chest, rotate one more time, then release, lower shoulder, walk the head over to where the knee is, and rotate the chest up towards the sky, and you'll feel the whole length in the back, all the way down to the hip here. Put the hand in that area, send it some warmth and some love, give it a nice massage. And then to come up, hand to floor, press up, head's always last. And then you bring soles of the feet together again. See if you can scoot them in a little closer. Hook the hands under the toes, big deep breath, drop knees down, and roll forward. One last time, hinge the elbows on the shins, open the back. Big deep breaths. And then roll up nice and slow. I like to end where I began. I'm just going to scoot myself back to the wall. Find a comfortable sit. See if those knees roll down a little more. Again, find those contact points right between those shoulder blades, the points of our heart and our lungs, pericardium. Just let the chest open. Lower the shoulder blades flat, and then bring the head to the wall. And a few deep breaths. Close the eyes. Feel your practice for today. Working on extending, finding strength, finding a little fun with balancing, pushing our boundaries. It's always not a tug of war, but it is a movement between the will of who we are, the will of what we wish to be, the will of what we do, the willpower, and the brain setting limits of what it thinks is safe for you. So there's chatter. I'm sure there's chatter that happens that says, I can't do that, I can't do that, I'm hurt, or I'm too old, or I don't like doing that. Whatever the stories we create, that's the brain trying to protect your willpower into some boundaries, and those are very useful. But I challenge you to push those boundaries by finding more strength. And so the muscles are recruited really easily upon exertion. The blood will flow to the muscles to recruit them to do as the will is asking. So eat well, sleep well,
exercise. Find your boundaries and push them just a little more. Find the limits, if there are any, to who you are today. Remember, tomorrow's different. So with that, we bring the hands to the heart space to find a little joy in our practice. We seal that together. And then we lift that light up as we take a bow humbly back to the earth again. We are creatures of gravity after all. Thank you for practicing today. Enjoy working on this. And do let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.